Hi Aries, welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel. This is your July 2026 tarot reading. Thank you to those of you who have liked, viewed, shared, and subscribed to the channel. I appreciate all of that. For those of you new to the channel, as far as what we have in front of us, it's a 12 card spread with each card representing a different house of the zodiac. Starting with your sign, Aries is the first house, all the way through to Pisces representing the 12th. When we get through that, we'll actually pull an oracle card as well with some additional insight. As far as the decks being used this month for the main tarot deck, we have the Guardian of the Night Tarot, and for the Oracle deck, we'll be using the Spirit Animal Oracle. We're actually going to start the reading off rolling some astrology dice and get an idea of where your focus should be as far as that goes. Alright, we have Taurus. So for you guys, Taurus is your second house of possession, self-worth, and finances. Astrologically speaking, it's a little quiet there now, but we have Chiron pretty much that just arrived there. Now, Chiron's been in your sign for years now, so you might just be feeling that energy lift, if nothing else. All right, we have Neptune. Well, Neptune, on the other hand, is in your sign and will be here for a while as well, and it's actually going to start a retrograde cycle on the 7th of July. So makes sense to see that come up. And we have 6. So sixth house energy for you guys is Virgo. Now we will have Venus moving into Virgo on the 9th of July, and then it'll pretty much be there for the rest of the month. And then actually toward the end of July on the 26th, I believe, it's actually the South Node's been in Virgo, and it's actually going to be moving out of there and into Leo. So those are some of the shifts we'll see there. And sixth house in general points to health, work, and daily routines. So we'll keep all that in mind as we go through the main spread. So for the first house energy, which points to personality, self-awareness, and appearance, we have the King of Pentacles. So this is actually Taurus energy here. Could just be saying that you might be more focused this month, maybe more goal-oriented, and so if we think about Aries being symbolized by the ram, right? The ram tends to just go after every target, right? Whereas the bull is a little bit more discerning. It definitely has the ability to go after a target, but it's not necessarily going to be as reactive as a ram might be, right? So it could just be saying that, you're a little bit more measured with your action. You're still willing to take action if the opportunity seems right, but if not, you're good to stay where you are as well. So I think that's going to be a nice measured approach for you guys this month. For the second house, which we saw with the dice as well, we have the Fool. So given that this is related to possession, self-worth, and finances, could just be saying that you might be a little bit more willing to take a risk than usual this month, right? Doesn't necessarily mean that it would pay off or that it won't, but just seems like you're more willing to put yourselves out there in some way when it comes to that area of life. For your third house energy, which points primarily to communication, short journeys, and siblings, we have the Ace of Cups. So it's good to be saying that maybe there's someone that might be attracted to you, or maybe you're attracted to them. Of course, can't rule out mutual attraction either, but it could just be saying that at the very least, you have someone on your mind that you are thinking of communicating with, that you seem to have, a bit of a soft spot for. Now, there's no guarantee that you'd be actually expressing those feelings, but at the very least, it looks like something that's going to be on your mind quite a bit this month. All right, so for your fourth house energy of home, roots, and family, we have the King of Wands. So this is actually a Leo energy here, but of course you're a fellow fire sign. And seeing this here could just be saying that maybe you feel really comfortable within your home environment, right? You feel like, you're just in a nice flow state. Maybe you get some creative ideas when you're within that environment as well. But yeah, at the very least, to me, this looks like it's just going to be a point of comfort for you guys this month. All right, so for your fifth house of romance, creativity, and children, we have the Strength card. So there's the artwork there, and of course, this is another Leo energy. But seeing this here could just be saying that, maybe you're going to be a little bit more willing to put yourselves out there in some way. So whether that be a creative project of some sort, right? That might have seemed intimidating to you for some time, but now you're ready to put yourselves out there. For some of you, maybe a romantic interest that you've had for a while, right? Looks like you are going to be a bit more willing to make that first move. All right, so for your sixth house of health, work, and daily routines, we have the Five of Cups. So this is a Scorpio energy here. So seeing this here could just be saying that maybe when it comes to, well, for a lot of you, I'm getting more of a work thing, but could be health. I feel like for less of you, more of a health thing. It seems this is more likely related to a work theme. And if that's the case, I feel like this is saying there might have been some disappointments there recently, right? Maybe you realized that the amount of time and energy that you were investing into that area of life wasn't necessarily paying off the way you thought it would. So that could be something that you're reflecting on this month. For the seventh house energy of partnerships, contracts, and relationships, we have the Four of Cups. So this is Cancerian energy here, and this could just be pointing to a timeline. For one, could just be saying between the 10th and 20th or so, give or take a couple days on either side. Could just be saying that maybe you'll be feeling a little bit disappointed with offers that might come your way. But other than that, I feel like this is saying that, with the Four of Cups energy, it's usually an indicator that if you're not necessarily happy with what's coming your way, the solution to that might be to be more proactive and go seek out what you do want, right? So that can be tied into what we were seeing with that fifth house energy too. Right. So for your eighth house energy, which points to death, rebirth, intimacy, and investments, we have the Ace of Swords. So yeah, so it's good to be saying that for some of you, maybe you get a bit of an epiphany around that area of life, right? So for some of you, this could be more related to finances, investments in some way, given what we were seeing with the Fool as well, right? So like we said, maybe you'll be more risk averse. So in that regard, it could be a positive, but yeah, it just looks like one of those things. Well, excuse me, not risk averse, but you'll be more willing to put yourselves out there. And to me, this is saying that either if you do have an idea that maybe isn't going to work out so great, you might actually save yourselves at the last minute with some kind of an epiphany, or for others of you, could just be saying that these two things will be working together, where you do actually get a sudden insight that might not seem to logically make any sense, but then you act on it, and it actually ends up paying off. I feel like you will be able to differentiate between the two, by the way, in case you're worried about that. All right. And for your ninth house energy, we have the Queen of Wands. So this is actually the court card energy representing your sign. So to see this here could just be saying that you're firm in your beliefs, right? I feel like there's a confidence that you carry yourselves with. You're comfortable with who you are as well. So I feel like this is saying that that's going to be the energy that you bring forward with yourselves as you go. And I feel like people will perceive that level of confidence as well. All right, so for your 10th house energy, which points to career and social status, we have the Two of Wands. So yeah, so this could just be saying that for some of you are ready to just take on something new, right? You're seeking a bit more adventure, right? Maybe just a change of pace. Maybe things have gotten stagnant for you, like we mentioned with the sixth house energy we see there. So yeah, this could just be saying that for a lot of you, at the very least, exploring the possibility of trying out something new. All right, for your 11th house energy of friendships, groups, hopes, and wishes, we have the Empress. So this is a good energy to see here because to me it says that opportunities might come your way this month through the groups, the friendships that you have around you. Could just be one of those things where you might have to actively seek it out, but they could just come forward to you with positive news, right? Maybe some kind of offers. So definitely looks like a positive there for sure. And for your 12th house energy, which points to blind spots, mental health, and spirituality, we have the Ten of Pentacles. So yeah, so this is actually Virgo energy here. And see this, I feel like this is saying, at the very least, whether you act on these ideas or not, I feel like there's going to be some ideas flowing to you guys this month that are actually going to give you an idea of how to set something in motion that's going to bring you long-term stability. So Again, there's no guarantee that you act on that, but I feel like at the very least you're going to be getting those insights this month. All right. And from the bottom of the deck, we have Temperance. So this is actually the major arcana card for Sagittarius. So more fire energy for you guys there. But to see this here could just be saying that you are going to take a bit of a measured approach into things, right? So what always stands out to me with a lot of the Temperance artwork is we see 1 foot on land, 1 foot in the water, right? So it's one of those things where, not necessarily afraid to delve into your emotions, but at the same time, remaining a little bit grounded as well, right? So that could be that balance that you guys are striking this month, which would be a good thing too, especially if you are considering doing something a bit out of the ordinary when it comes to finances. But we'll see what the Oracle card adds to the mix. So like I mentioned, we're going to pull a card from the Spirit Animal Oracle. I'm just going to give this a few shuffles, then we'll cut the deck and pull a card. All right, take this card here, get this out of the way, and we'll see what you got. All right, we have Armadillo Spirit, set healthy boundaries. There's the artwork, and the number is 3. Interestingly enough, just like the Empress, but we'll see what it says in the book. All right. The Oracle message says, learning to set healthy boundaries is the gift of Armadillo Spirit. You're entering a phase where, in order for you to be in alignment with your intentions and co create your best life, you may have to be discerning and say no to many things that may have been okay for you in the past. This also means that you need to learn where you end and where others begin, what is yours to own and what is not. Know your limits and understand that it's an empowering choice to say no to what doesn't feel right. Armadillo Spirit is here to tell you it's time to be honest with yourself about what you really want. Be clear on what you are agreeing to, declare what your needs are, and say no as a full sentence. These are acts of respect and kindness to others, as well as to yourself. Trust your body's signals, and you will know what to do. Armadillo Spirit guides you in making good decisions that are grounded in a strong sense of what belongs to you and what does not. So, yeah, definitely a positive message there. And seems a bit fitting, too, because we're going to have the Neptune retrograde in your sign, and then also later in the month, we're going to have Saturn retrograde in your sign as well. So both those things, however weird it sounds, combined, I could see how they could be related to looking at setting boundaries, right, and figuring out how to do so in a more positive manner. So hope that resonated with you guys, and we'll wrap up there. All right, bye.